everyone, Michelle here from Gardening TLC. Welcome to beautiful Northern Illinois Zone 5. It is Labor Day weekend. Where did the summer go? I don't even know. Today though, we are going to share the fruits of your hard labor. Welcome to Garden Gab. It is our viewer submission episode and we have some wonderful pictures to share with you guys. You've been sending them in all month long and wow, you certainly delivered. All right, so grab a cup of coffee, find someplace comfortable to settle in, and let's go look at some beautiful inspiration. Before we jump into all of your absolutely awesome pictures, let's take care of our gardening announcements and business. All right, number one, do you guys know that I have a newsletter? I'm sure some of you do because some of you subscribe. But I've gotten a lot of new viewers lately. So if you're here and you're new and you don't know about the newsletter and you'd like to get it, you can click on the link below this video. It'll take you to my website, and then there's another button you click there where you fill in your information, and then I will send you the newsletter. So what's in the newsletter? Oh, it's just articles and gardening stuff. It's tips and techniques and just information about gardening. Every month we just do probably 3 different articles in there about different things. The other thing that we include in the newsletter though is our calendar of events of the things that are going on at the garden center. So even if you thought like you were going to come and visit me sometime and you wanted to come like during when there's an open house or an event or even a workshop and maybe you wanted to attend it, this at least would give you the information so that you would know when they are. So that is there for you if you want it, and you just have to click the link to get there, and it's absolutely free. All right, the second announcement I want to make is during the last Garden Gab, I talked about a live Facebook sale that we were going to have, and we did that sale on Wednesday, and some of you popped in. I actually have a couple of you that were shipping things to, and I thought it was a really good time. It was successful for us, and we will be doing it again. Now, we will ship anything within the continental United States if it's a shippable item, and usually it lasts about an hour. Well, I don't want to say usually. We've only done it one time. The first time we lasted about an hour and 15 minutes and kind of worked all the kinks out of how it's going to work. So we're going to do it again in October, and I'm just letting you know about it so that if you want to pop in or you feel like you want to check that out, you know I'm doing it and you can check it out. It's not necessarily like something I'm going to push on YouTube, but I know that a lot of my regular people are here. Hi, you guys. And I just want to make sure you know about it, okay? So that'll happen in October. Just watch for the date. All right. The third piece of business that I want to take care of are fall bulbs. Last year I opened a Shopify page and I sold fall bulbs on the Shopify page, and then I sold some Christmas stuff and some seeds and things like that. Well, I ended up shutting down the Shopify page because you have to pay like $49.99 a month to have this Shopify page and then all the other fees and things that go with it. And I felt like I wasn't utilizing it enough to make it worth the expense of having it, so I shut it down. But I still want to be able to make things available for you guys. So we will be selling bulbs again this year. We will have an episode probably the 2nd or 3rd week in September where we'll put all the bulbs up for you to see that will be for sale. And then you can call the store and order them from there and we can ship them. Again, shipping will only be in the continental United States. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming. And again, I've got my hands on some really sweet bulbs. And this is going to be some sweet pricing too. All right, so watch for that announcement. And I think that's all I've got for announcements. And without further ado, we are going to jump in and just be totally inspired. Are you ready? Let's go. Our first picture comes from Marge Tolkien in Jefferson City, Missouri, Zone 6A. And these are Royal Sunset Asiatic lilies. And these are absolutely gorgeous. They actually have that beautiful sunset color. And I love the clever play with the picture. And I don't know if those are petunias or calibrachoas in there, but they are so sweet. Isn't it nice when you can find a true blue flower in the garden? This comes from Cindy Scott in Plymouth, Wisconsin, Zone 5. I so appreciate what came up on its own, like this borage. It seeded itself and the blue is so pretty. This photo was taken on July 15th around 7 in the morning. And it's so true. When you can find blue flowers, it's so awesome. You gotta love Asiatic lilies, and you gotta love it when you get them on sale. And that's exactly what Ginger Cashman did in northern Massachusetts, Zone 5. She found these on a clearance rack at Home Depot and scored because they are gorgeous. Hello, Joanne in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Zone 6A. Wow, this looks totally awesome. This is of a little garden area next to her patio. There are cannas, that's what the big things are there. Anna's magic balls, which are the round shrubs that you see. And then she's got sun patience and pots filled with other beautiful things. This is really nice. I'm amazed at how many lilies there are, and they're all so beautiful. Oh my goodness. This one comes out of the garden of Susan, and she lives in Dubuque, Iowa, Zone 5. And she sent me quite a few pictures. She has a lot of lilies, and they are all gorgeous. But I actually chose this one because of the glass orbs. And I'm telling you, she has a collection of glass orbs that are to die for. They're so awesome. And if you want to see her collection of glass orbs, we actually went there last year and did a garden tour, and I linked it down below. So if you want to go check that out, it is well worth your time to go look at it. It is like stepping into this full, lush, whimsical garden that is to die for. It's gorgeous. This is just so unfair. Can you believe that? That is a Thumbergia. Did you guys see mine in the last tour with no flowers on it? Oh my gosh, Jill, what are you doing? This is fabulous. She lives in Elgin, Illinois, Zone 5, and she had to show us this planter because it's pretty fantastic. And that is one black-eyed Susan vine in there. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. A shout out to Barbara on this little jewel of garden art. That's what I look at this and see. It is so gorgeous. So this has been growing since May, and it is Browalia. Now Barb lives in Davis, Illinois, Zone 5B, and she wants me to remind you guys, make sure you plant natives in your garden. This is a picture of Joan Davis's mailbox garden. She lives in Western Massachusetts, Zone 5. Thank you so much for watching, Joan. I know that you have written that I have inspired you to get rid of things that you don't like anymore. And I don't know that there's anything wrong with that. I know some people kind of have a problem when I throw things away or I move things in my garden or I get rid of it. But you know what? Life's too short to have a garden that you don't love. I absolutely love this. Isn't that cool? Who doesn't want that in their garden? So this is from Agnes in New Jersey, Zone 7A, and this is an area in her back garden, mostly hostas with a splash of color with sunflowers and Russian sage. You can accomplish a lot in a small space, and Alice certainly has done that. She lives in Franklin Square, Long Island, New York, Zone 7, and what she writes is, I have been gardening for many years thanks to my father. Attached is my vegetable garden. I have planted in this little space tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, beans, corn, asparagus, cucumbers, strawberries, blueberries, and herbs in an 8 by 40-foot bed. Wow, you are certainly getting the best use possible out of your space. Andrea, I know that you've worked really hard on your garden this year, and I know that it's been a tough gardening year where you live, and there's probably other people on here who can relate to the heat indexes over 100, the droughts that you've had, and then the monsoon rainstorms. It makes it a challenge to garden. But you have persevered because this looks pretty good. And what she writes is, this is a picture of Starry Starry Night hibiscus. She's got limelight prime hydrangeas and other things going on in there. She's been gardening for over 40 years, and your garden, it really shows that you work hard and that you love it. That is a nice, healthy limelight hydrangea. It is 16 years old. It is in the garden of Sandra DeVoe, who lives right here in the same city as me, Rockford, Illinois, Zone 5. That's very nice. And she's got that growing in like dappled shade underneath a maple. Oh my gosh, I love that little stone house back there. That is pretty cool. This is also right in my backyard. This is from Sandy in McHenry, Illinois, not very far away, Zone 5B. Sandy is 80 and she's been gardening for a long time, and she maintains this garden herself. She says she has a lot of hostas and hydrangeas, and she calls that little stone house her Hansel and Gretel house. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. 35 years ago, this was a farm field, and Julie in South Central Pennsylvania in Zone 7A has slowly transformed this into a beautiful garden over the last 35 years. This is the view from her upper bedroom window. That's fabulous, and I love those sails that create that shade for you. You gotta love it when you get happy surprises. So these are all volunteer petunias that have come up because for years, Karen in Northwest Kentucky has been planting around this pole. And this year she didn't plant anything, and this is what she got. Yeah, love happy accidents. I love it when there's like a little story that goes with the garden. This is from Patricia, who lives in Madison, Wisconsin, Zone 5. And you can see over on the left, there's a little sapling growing there. Well, what she writes is that this isn't the most beautiful vignette in my garden, but it is the most surprising. So in fall of 2023, that was 2 years ago, a friend gave me a 3-inch sapling of a pagoda dogwood. She planted it and never expected it to live, much less become an actual tree in less than 2 years. I wanted people to know what you can do with a tiny seedling. I have 2 little baby maple trees that a customer gave me that I've been growing in a pot all year, and they've actually gotten some decent size on them, and we're going to be putting those in the ground later this fall. Oh, JD, I love those. So her husband built her some concrete square containers. And in those containers, she put some hydrangeas on standards. And they have spent the last 4 years transforming their backyard that when they started was just trees, weeds, and nothing. Wow, you have come a long ways in 4 years. What a sweet picture of some Culver's root, which is the purple flower, and the Heliopsis, which is the orange flower. I know I'm really starting to get into the orange and purple. I'm going to have to create that somewhere in my garden. But this comes from Faye, who lives in Alberta, Canada, Zone 3A. All right, Andrea, next year, before you plant your garden, you have to send me your plan. You got it going on, girl. I'm telling you what, your gardens, I don't want to show my gardens anymore. I just want to show your gardens. They are totally scrumptious. I don't know what other word to use for that, but wow, I love them. So Andrea has been sending me pictures for a couple years, and this is her, yeah, this is her inspiration this year. I love it. She lives in Marysville, Ohio, near Columbus, Zone 6A. Linda Gardens in Conroe, Texas, Zone 9. That is way down there. Okay, so what she writes is this is the spiral bed that was completed back in April. The basil on top is crazy. I keep thinking I need to cut it back, but every time I go out, it's full of bees and butterflies. I have that problem sometimes too. I know I should cut it back, but I just can't do it because I know those bees and those butterflies love it. She also writes that the Cape plumbago is really happy, spilling over the sides, and the sweet potato vine and wire vine are definitely happy. It is full of other herbs and small flowers. That's pretty cool looking. Thanks for sending your picture in. There's something pleasing about a nice little trio of pots with only one plant in it. I could see walking out to my back deck and looking at this every day. This is actually one that I'm going to be stealing. I really like the simpleness of it, but it is very cohesive. It goes so good together. So in the bottom left, that pot has got a stained glass coleus in it. Over on the right bottom, you've got a maidenhair fern. And then up above it, you know how much I love my impatiens, just some nice, beautiful red impatiens. Nice job, Lisa. That looks great. These elephant ears are in the garden of Nancy Doyle. And thank you, Nancy, for sending me the instructions on how to overwinter mine. Now, she lives in Byron Center, Michigan, and she bought these 9 years ago. And she digs them up and she overwinters them. She gets babies off of them and everything. So I think this is what they're supposed to look like. So I'm like a crazy woman, right? I planted some elephant ears this year, and I did it when I did the she shed reveal. I did the 2 big pots and I stuffed like 4 elephant ears in one pot. And they are so crowded in there. And even some of you commented, like, you put 4 elephant ears in one pot. Are you crazy? Well, nobody said I was crazy, but it's like, yeah, are you crazy? I say that to myself now. Now they're all growing, but they're so crowded and they would look so much better if I put them in the ground. So I am going to dig them all up. And that's why I was so happy Nancy sent this picture and then sent me instructions on what to do to overwinter them so that when I dig them up, I know what I'm doing. So I love this. And I think this is the look that I'm going for in my garden next year. So again, this is another one of those write it down in my wish list book of what I want to accomplish in my garden with an elephant ear. So thank you, Nancy. Oh my goodness, Giovanna, you aren't causing accidents, are you? As people snap their head around to look at your beautiful zinnia line down the driveway. She lives in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, Zone 6A. And she writes that this is a 30-foot long bed of zinnias that she's been planting for 3 years along the driveway. And she does say that she sits on the front porch and she watches people's heads turn as they drive by. My head would turn. Wow, that's all I can say. I'm going to stop giving tours of my gardens. Some of your gardens are so awesome. Just keep sending me pictures and I'll just do this all day long. Oh my goodness. So this is from Cindy, who lives in Byron, Ohio, Zone 6. She's only been in this home since 2020. I know, but there was nothing there but a large weeping cherry when they moved in, and they totally planted all of this up. And I could list everything that she wrote, but I just want to take it all in. What a great sense of layering that is. And the color palette is to die for. It's so good. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Cindy. This was inspiring. That is so nice looking. That is a beautiful symphony of color in the shade garden. This is also from someone who lives right here in my city, Bob and Jenny in Rockford, Illinois, Zone 5B. And they write that the following picture is part of mine and my wife's shade garden. They've been working on this garden for about 15 years. They've done it on a limited budget and they just add things to it every year. This year, I made the hosta garden smaller, moving the existing hostas to other part of the garden, adding a garden bench and a path, making it easier to take care of. I really enjoy sitting on this bench and looking out over the rest of my garden. I'm retired and I enjoy working in my garden almost every day. You know me, I love a good sitting spot out in the garden. This is absolutely wonderful. I would love to sit out there and just chill. Another great sitting area. And I like the fence behind there. And I love the color of the bench. This is so soothing. And to me, I could sit out there and just feel at ease. This is from the garden of Sandra in Mattoon, Illinois, Zone 5B6A. Isn't it interesting how we don't trust what the new zones are? So we all put the old zone in the new zone. I know. You don't know what to do. So it's like, I'm just trusting in the old zones. But I love this picture. Thank you, Sandra. Do you always end up finding a container that you absolutely love every year? I know I do. I always do one, and it's a standout container. It's the one that I go to and look at all the time, and I love it. Well, this is Ann's, and she lives in Cary, North Carolina, Zone 8A. And I love it too. I have put the plant that she has in here as her centerpiece, that colocasia called coffee cups, on my wish list. I'm going to try to find it next year. And what she writes about it is that the leaves form cups that hold water when it rains, and it's great for the butterflies, the bees, the wildlife. And that's why I want this plant. So thank you, Anne. This is fabulous. I have she shed envy. Oh my gosh. I love my she shed, but I do wish I had windows so that I had all the light that you're going to get. So this is from the garden of Michelle Buchanan in West Tennessee, Zone 7. And she wrote, I just had to share the she shed greenhouse my husband and I built this summer. It is built from old windows from a house built in the late 1800s. Wow, that's pretty cool. Now she still has some finishing touches because inside they're going to put an old brick floor, an antique enamel sink, a potting table, and a jelly cupboard for storage, and of course, a chandelier. And then she gets to do all the planning and dreaming of everything that's going to go around it. So I am waiting in anticipation for you to show me that when you get that done. Hello, Glenda. Glenda lives in Northeast Missouri, Zone 5. I've been getting pictures of her garden for quite a while now. This is very nice. This is of her central garden bed, and look at those beautiful blooms on those hydrangeas. Oh, I love metal planters, and I love the ones that sit up off the ground on the legs like this one. Now in here, Lenny has planted one chocolate drop coleus, a licorice vine, and a dark sweet potato vine. So she lives in Fox City, Wisconsin, Zone 5. What a nice little garden along the fence. This is from Janelle Walker in Altoona, Iowa, Zone 5B. And she writes that this is her backyard. And on that arbor, she has roses that she put on this year that she's hoping to have cover that arbor by next year. I like a nice sweeping view of a garden like this because it gives you a good feel for the space. And I love the colors that you've chosen for this garden. It's nice. This is cool, Terry. I really like this. So the top shrub up there is a honeysuckle. And then below that, we've got that kind of lattice fence, and that's got kiwi vine growing on it. And I like the look of that in there. And then below that, it looks like you have some knockout roses. I think this is really nice, but I really like that screen. I know. I keep having to add things to my wish list. This is a section of a perennial bed that's along a walkway. Now, this is only a partial section of that. And right now, this is Eileen O'Donnell's favorite section. Now, there's other sections that she likes, but she wrote that the blippity bleep rabbits ate the other sections. And so I know I shouldn't laugh that those blippity bleep rabbits ate your other plants, but just the way you phrased that was so funny. But she lives in southeastern Massachusetts, Zone 7A, and I really do like this section. It looks great. Wendy Every lives in the Tidewater area of coastal Virginia, Zone 8A. She's been watching my videos now for a few years, but it's the first time she's ever sent me a picture. So thank you. I'm glad that you sent me one. She absolutely loves to spend time in her garden, and she planted this container late spring with summer blooming bulbs. It consists of two different types of caladiums and a calla lily. Now, the calla lily is the Santiago. She did use an aqua pot insert, and she's using it in a terracotta pot. And she truly believes that it's helping to keep that pot happy. And I would absolutely believe that because terracotta totally wicks all the water out of the soil. And I can't believe that this looks that great in a terracotta pot. But with an aqua pot, yeah, I'd believe it. Or an aqua pot insert, yeah, absolutely. I love the combination. I like pictures like this where you focus on something in the foreground and the background's a little bit blurred, but you can see all the colors and the textures. So this is from Sue Grab. She lives in Washington, Illinois, Zone 5B, 6A. And what she writes is, I'm still learning about gardening at 75, and I am hoping that I can do so for the rest of my life. This is a view of the entrance to our house. Thanks for sharing your videos. They are a reprieve from the news, as are my gardens. Well, it's my pleasure. And thank you for sharing your garden with us. Check that out. This is from Carmen in Racine, Missouri, Zone 6B7A. And what she writes is that this is a photo of a bed to display our love of flowers and our antiques. This is a John Deere corn planter. The containers are Dusty Miller and Bordeaux Supertunia. The middle one is rose moss that volunteers everywhere, and I put it in the middle pot. So we collect antique horse-drawn farm machinery. That's cool that you create that and then you make a little vignette around it in your beds. This is from the Garden of Amy near Columbus, Ohio, Zone 6A. This is a photo of my side garden. The standard hydrangea is not a proven winner limelight, but it is an awesome performer. The path you see doubles as a sluice for the times when we have heavy rain. I like the arch. Hello, Kim. As always, you send me a beautiful snippet of something in your garden. And even though you said you didn't have anything beautiful in your garden right now, I don't know, this looks pretty beautiful to me. So, Kim lives in Iowa City, Iowa, Zone 5B. And this is volunteer late blooming phlox and an early September charm Japanese anemone. This is from Sunny, who lives in Ontario, Canada, and she has been watching my videos since the very beginning. Thank you. Wow, that means you watched them when they were really bad videos. All right, so please find attached a snapshot of a standard hydrangea. I just moved here less than a year ago, and I didn't know which variety of hydrangea it was. But you know what? She actually reached out to the homeowner to find out which one it was, sent me an email like I think maybe yesterday or today, and it is a pink diamond hydrangea. So right now it's white, but you watch, the tips of that are going to start turning pink. Mike lives in Central Illinois, Zone 5B, and when he started, this was a blank slate, with the exception of the landscaping right up next to the house. So everything else you're looking at, he created. He's added more hydrangeas to expand that drift, and now he's planning to expand the island beds and add more hydrangeas to create a nicer hedge. It has been so nice to see the butterflies and the hummingbirds enjoying the flowers. Thanks for all the inspiration. You're very welcome. And this is very beautiful. Marsha lives in North Texas, Zone 8A. And now that she has retired, gardening is her go to top to do list thing every single day. This is absolutely gorgeous. I love the pink Gara. I love that hyacinth bean that you have growing there. Man, is it healthy and big. I can never get mine going. Love it. Also in North Texas is Helen in Zone 8A as well. And she writes, oh my goodness. All right, she writes, our summers are similar to the gates of hell. So lots of hand watering and using patio umbrellas to give my pots a break from the sun. This is my favorite container filled with sedums, frosted, fire pink, and autumn joy varieties. I think there's some lamb's ear in there as well. Oh my God, I love it. Oh, Bonnie, I love this. It totally speaks to me. I wish I could do this around my front door. I can't because I have a covered porch and I can't create this, but you can, and it's gorgeous. And I think this could be in a magazine. It's so awesome looking. Thank you for sharing this. This planter box was submitted by Debbie in Tennessee, Zone 7. The picture I'm sending you is where we used to have an old, brittle, large plastic container that had seen better days. Well, she did send me the picture of that old plastic container, and it was old and plastic and had seen better days. But what she's got instead is this beautiful planter box that a couple of her neighbors built for her out of bricks from Lowe's. Now, when they were done, they didn't have a lot of money to spend on flowers, so they decided to shop the clearance racks. And there is nothing wrong with shopping clearance racks. All right. We didn't have a lot of money, so we grabbed anything that looked like it could be revived. Well, you loved it and loved it. You revived it, and it looks pretty awesome. You can do a lot in a small space. This is a condo garden, and it belongs to Rosie, who lives in Bloomington, Indiana, Zone 6. What a bunch of great color there is in here. I love the blue bird bath. Wow, just fantastic. Spiders are fascinating as long as they're not on me. If they're on me, they're dead. But I like looking at them as long as they're over there. Now, this spider was found by Barbara Holt, who lives in Tigard, Oregon, Zone 7B 8A. As she was walking on her morning walk, she caught this little guy on her twisted echinacea. The spider is a goldenrod crab spider. It's pretty cool looking and it matches the color of the flower. That is a pretty little side garden. So this is from Cornelia, who lives in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, Zone 6B. I'm always amazed that you can be in Canada in a 6, and I'm south, I think, or maybe, I don't know. I'm in a 5. How can you be in a 6? I don't know, but this is pretty gorgeous. All right, she writes that it's a photo of her side garden that is very narrow and is only part on our property in full sun. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. I love what you've done with the Supertunias. Pat lives in the Blue Ridge Mountains, North Carolina, Zone 6B, and this was taken on a foggy morning. This is really nice. So she was out early on this late August foggy morning, remembering what my driveway bed was a few years ago. Just a long, narrow bed with some Japanese maples and a few flowers in the summer. Well, you've really transformed it into something quite beautiful. Glenn in Libsyn, Wisconsin, Zone 5B writes, the north side of my garden has been a work in progress lately. The trunk of the Hobbit house was actually from another multi-trunk tree that I dragged over here. The roof was made from the branches of a birch tree. He has a nice collection, including double play candy corn, eastern hemlock, and others in this area, along with a nice little water feature. Very nice. That's a cottage garden. That's what they're supposed to look like. And you have made this your own. Ellen, this is fabulous. Now, Ellen says that she has been gardening in this garden for 40 years. And I think you've done a great job. I love this. It's so colorful and it's whimsical and it's got a combination of shrubs and annuals and perennials and just what a cottage garden is supposed to be. Someday mine's going to grow up and look like this too. This is a front garden picture from Lori Kidder's garden bed in Hastings, Michigan, Zone 6A. It started 5 years ago with a hydrangea, a hibiscus, and barberry crimson pygmy. 3 years ago, she added the coneflowers, the black-eyed Susans, and then she put some wildflowers in there. The window box is 15 years old. So, do you guys like window boxes? I'm thinking about adding a couple to my house. Weigh in down below. What do you think of those? I like this one. Really? How do you guys get them to grow this big? Beth, what are you feeding this thing? Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. And another plant I have to add to my wish list. See, I'm going to have to make more gardens. All right, so Beth lives in Fargo, North Dakota, and she's in a four getting it to grow this big. Oh, I know. I sound like I'm mad, but I'm just like amazed at how awesome this looks. So the Colocosia Royal Hawaiian Maui Gold is the green one. And then she has a black magic. So I've seen the black magics before. I've brought them into the garden center, but I've never tried to grow one. But now that one's going on my wish list. All right. Now she does say that she brings them in every year and keeps the bulbs from year to year. So I'm assuming that over time the bulb continues to grow and get bigger every year, and that she starts them indoors before they go outdoors. So yeah, I'm going to be doing some experimenting, and I'm going to be doing some elephant ear growing very soon. Oh, that is so nice. I love that hibiscus with that pot tucked in there, kind of peeking out. So, this is from Cindy Katie in upstate New York, Zone 5B. And she writes that this is where my urns are that are usually the star of the show, in this area next to my black metal bench, until this perennial hibiscus takes off in August to swallow up the urn. But I kind of like it tucked up in there. It's so sweet. Reese has sent me a picture of her Royal Standard hostas. Now, she lives in Newcastle, Indiana, Zone 6. And the reason she sent me the picture is because I talk about how I don't like hosta flowers and I run around and I cut them all off. And she said, I should look at these because they're gorgeous and I wouldn't even dare think about cutting those off. Well, I think your picture is absolutely gorgeous, but I would cut the flowers off. I know it's horrible, but I just don't like them. But if you do, that's all that really matters. But thank you for trying to convince me. Another beautiful pot. This one comes from Ginger, who lives along the seacoast in northern Massachusetts, Zone 5. And what she writes is, I have an extensive hosta border and I've decided to add pots so that I can have pops of color. Now, in this pot, I love that she has a little Japanese forest grass in there because she can pull that out and plant it in her landscape. But she also has a coleus called El Brido and white impatiens. And then she also has an unnamed red coleus in there. I love the color combination, and it's definitely a pop of color in your hosta garden. Mary Ellen writes that I admired a similar garden rack many times while visiting Florida. I was happily surprised to see it a few days before my birthday back in May, and I'm happy with how it turned out. It still looks good approaching the end of August. I love the stacker. That is so cool. This is a nice layered garden from Shirley Rolfe in Michigan, Zone 5B. And what she writes is that this is a small portion of a 164-foot border that is in the back of their lot. It's the sunniest spot in her yard with 5 to 6 hours of sun. The border covers 3 tiers, which we began in 2006 when we purchased a sandhill behind us. The garden has gone through many transitions since then. This bed has many beautiful plants, including a peony that is over 100 years old. Wow. Wow. So I have designed the garden, but I'm handicapped and can no longer work in it. My husband does the maintenance and we hire out the rest. It's a source of solitude for us and for the people we share it with. Oh, it's lovely. B lives in Quebec, Canada, Zone 5B. This is the best this garden has looked this year. A lot of the plants were nibbled on early in the season by our resident groundhog and rabbits. It's the first year the crocosmas are blooming nicely, and the verbena in the background are definitely something I will repeat next year. It's nice. I like it. I love the black-eyed Susans in there. Lee, I don't know how you grow this plant without it going all over the place. I'll have to show you guys sometime. We have a back greenhouse that we don't use at the garden center, and it's just for receiving. And we store our Christmas walk stuff back there. And it's like where all the pallets of dirt are that are back up that need to go up front. Well, at one point, we thought about opening it, and we planted this tiger's eye sumac back there. This thing has spread all over the place. One plant. I mean, it's everywhere, and we never water it. So I am amazed that you have this planted right here in your garden and it's staying right there in your garden. I love the way they look, but they scare me to death. But here's what Lee writes. She wrote, I am slowly recovering some garden space from the rock in the front corner of our yard. This is where we lost our tiger eye sumac in a storm last year. We replaced it and have a good sized volunteer this year from the main root of the broken one. I planted sedum this spring along the sidewalk. Some of the coral bells survived, and I just added a few more this week. She has also put in yarrow and penstemon, and there's some volunteer columbines in there. So, yeah, this is gorgeous, but boy, that plant scares me to death. This little garden bed is a nice little corner of shade that Janet Gustier in Alexandria, Virginia put in 2 years ago. So it's still pretty young and she's waiting for things to grow up. Some of the hostas that she has in this bed include Island Breeze, Blue Cadet, and Mini Skirt. She also added some Brunnera Sea Heart and some autumn ferns this year. So one of the things that she loves and that brings a smile to her face is that little birdhouse in there that she purchased at the Outer Banks earlier in the year. So you wait, that thing is going to grow up. All those plants are going to touch. It's going to be all full and just glorious color. Wow. All of that grew in 4 months. Diana said that she put this bed in April. That is fabulous for only 4 months of growth. I think that that is so sweet looking. So Diana lives in Lebanon, Indiana, zone 5B, 6A. I really like this picture. I love the Liriope in there and the black-eyed Susans with the grass behind it. I like that you drop down to a rock and you've got that ajuga mixed in with that creeping Jenny, the holly way over on the left. Yeah, this is nice. It really speaks to me. And it also solves a problem. So, this is from the garden of Arlene Kane, who lives in southeastern Pennsylvania. She grows in zone 6B, 7A. And what she writes is that this is in one of the front yard driveway beds. And basically, what happens is anytime it rains, heavy rains, water rushes down the street and it washes out any mulch that's lying along the edges of the bed. To combat this, they have heavily planted with ground covers under the shrubs and the perennials. This is also in full sun. And I'm getting ready to plant another bed along the edge of the driveway where, yeah, when we get big rains, it washes out all the mulch. Yep, we're going to put this one in my wish list folder. Thanks, Arlene. Check out all the color in this beautiful bed. Good afternoon, is what Judy Sanchez writes from North Carolina, Zone 8. I would like for you to see my beautiful corner garden full of caladiums, coleus, transcanthia, Swedish ivy, creeping jenny, begonias, and pothos and hanging baskets. I have enjoyed this so much when I sit on my front porch. That is the view. I would enjoy that view. That is gorgeous. Another great example of texture and color in the garden. This is great. I love it. This is from the Garden of Barb, who lives in Ontario, Canada, Zone 5. This is a shot from a corner garden of an upright yellow sedum that she doesn't know the name of. So if you guys look at that sedum, that variegated foliage on there, if anybody knows the name of that, give us a shout out down below so that Barb can figure it out. It might be Autumn Charm. It seems a little light, but if anybody knows what that is, tune in down below. She also writes that she has some Amsonia, the string theory that's in the upper left. She has the lavender bubbles, allium in here, and then she's got the sombrero lemon yellow echinacea. She's got purpurea echinacea and dazzleberry sedum along the bottom, which you can barely see in there. And then look at that cute little crane in there. Oh, I love it. Robin has been digging rocks for 18 years. Those rocks went around every bed on this property. This garden is in Pennsylvania, Zone 6A. Absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love the planters up on the porch. Thank you, Robin, for sending this in. And wow, you've been digging for rocks for a long time. Way to make good use of them, though. And last but not least, we have this absolutely gorgeous picture from Michelle Cox, who lives in Rockford, Illinois, Zone 5. Isn't that the most fabulous, best grouping of plants you've ever seen? Oh, wait, that's just my garden, you guys. You've seen lots of my garden. All right. Well, I got to throw one in there of mine. Wasn't that awesome? I think this was probably the best Garden Gab episode that I've had. The pictures that you guys sent in were fabulous, but all the work that you had to do to get those pictures. Oh, I'm telling you what, I'm going to have to make 10 more gardens by the time I'm done being inspired, by the time I'm done stealing some of the ideas that I saw. And I now have a notebook that's 2 pages full of wish list items. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to stop making Garden Gab and being inspired by you guys. Oh my gosh, it was so awesome. I hope it lifted you up today. I know we're going into Labor Day weekend, which is a totally fun family weekend. But remember, summer's not over yet, and there's still a lot of planting to do. So make sure you tune in through September, October, and even going into winter. We just keep on going, you guys. So that is all I have for today. Oh my gosh, thank you everyone who turned in a picture. They were beautiful. Okay, I'm Michelle, and I'm going to go work in the garden now. You guys have a great day. I'm going to go get my hands in the dirt. I hope you do too, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.